Good afternoon, everyone, and you're very welcome to our lunchtime slot here as part of our virtual career series in DKIT, focusing in on engineering. And this slot is being hosted by Mercury Engineering and Mercury Group, who have been great supporters of DKIT and very involved in engaging with our students and graduates so that you can think about them when you're making your choice around your career development. We're delighted to be joined today by Brona Matthews, who is HR Learning and Development Specialist and also involved in graduate recruitment, and Deblina, who is the Talent Acquisition Coordinator and has been our constant contact over the course of setting up for this event. Now, so just as with all of the series, I'm just going to be, of course, encouraging you to pop any questions that you have or any just comments you want to make into the chat and questions function, and we will address those at the end of the presentation. But for now, I'm going to hand over to Brona, who's going to take you through the presentation. Thanks, Brona.
No problem, Catherine. Thanks very much for having both myself and Deblina here. We've really been looking forward to doing this presentation. We were in the office earlier on this week working on it and putting it together and everything. And as you said, you know, we do have very close links with DKIT. We've had some very good students come from there, so we're delighted to be invited here today. So I do have a presentation that I'm just going to go through, and then we have time at the end for questions and answers. So I'm just going to maximize this here. So this is, as Catherine said, we're Mercury. That's a shot of our head office, which is based up in Sandyford in Dublin. So I suppose the first question you guys are probably asking is, who is Mercury and what do they do? So a little bit about us is we're a European contractor, and we build and manage complex engineering projects which reimagine how people work and live in the built environment. So we would work on data centers, we would work on pharmaceutical plants, we would do some design and build. We do a lot of different things, and there's a lot of variety in what we do. We have been operating since 1972, and those of you who are good at maths will realize that we're celebrating our 50th anniversary next year. So we're all looking forward to that. We have a number of very exciting things lined up for 2022 for the 50th anniversary. So hopefully, you know, some of you will be joining us and you'll be able to get involved in those. It was founded by Joe Morgan and Frank O'Kane. Both founding families are still involved with Mercury, still involved with the company, and their legacy, you know, we like to think we're taking very, very good care of it at the moment. We are the largest contractor in our home market, and we're also a major contractor across Europe. Throughout the group, we have over 2,500 direct employees, and that would be a mixture of professional staff like myself and Deblina. It would also be trades, so you have your electricians, your plumbers, and of course your apprentices. We would take on a number of apprentices every year. We're the largest employer of apprentices in the country at the moment. And then we have, when you add in our subcontractors, our specialist subcontractors, we have over 6,500 staff working for us across the group, which is a absolutely mind-blowing number. And I don't mind admitting, when I was pulling these numbers earlier on in the week for this presentation, I was actually really surprised at the growth we've had, particularly in the last couple of years, particularly because of COVID. It's been a very challenging time for all of us, especially the construction industry, but we've managed to come through it very, very well, and we're in really good shape here, and we're continuing to expand and continuing to employ more and more people. As I said, we're privately owned, we're privately operated, and we've been in business for nearly 50 years. Across those 50 years, we've worked across 4 continents and in 31 different companies. So if you do join us, there is plenty of scope for travel and to broaden your horizons and work outside of Ireland. A lot of the business that we have comes from, it's repeat business from our existing clients. For example, we've worked with Intel down in Leixlip for over 30 years now. We first started out there in 1989, and we've had a consistent presence out there ever since. We also do a lot of work with Facebook, with Equinix, with Digital Realty, and they're all major data center companies. And as you can see there, this year we hit over 1 billion euros in our annual revenue, which, as I said about our numbers of staff, that's mind blowing when you stop and you think about it. So our services, as you can see there, they're international and they're comprehensive. We are a general contractor out on a lot of our European sites, and we do project management as well. We do everything from planning to design to civil, structural, and architectural, which is a relatively new field for us to be in, and it's proving interesting. We're enjoying that challenge. Mechanical, electrical, and fire protection services, they would be the traditional core Mercury services. They've been our bread and butter for the last 50 years. We also have ICT, the information technology, and we've also just branched in the last year or so into data centers facilities management, and we have a whole new arm of the business set up for that. So as I said, there's been a lot of change, a lot of innovation, and it's a very, very exciting time for anybody to be coming on board with Mercury. So our current locations, as you saw on the first slide, we have our headquarters in Dublin, down in Sandyford. We also have a number of sites that operate throughout the country. As I said, we're in Intel in Mixip, we're in Facebook in Clonee, we're also on the National Children's Hospital in Dublin, and we have a number of smaller sites located around the country. We have other offices in London and in Glasgow, and then throughout Europe, we're in Netherlands, Germany, Sweden, and all those other places that we have there. I'm not going to read them out to you because, you can all read. We're going into Turkey and Israel. That's coming soon, probably in 2022. So we're excited at that, and a little bit scared because there's a lot of work that has to go into setting up the new entities there. But again, we're looking forward to that. And just to say to you, the countries or the cities that we're working in places like Amsterdam and the Netherlands. In Germany, we're in Munich, we're in Frankfurt, we're in Berlin, we're in Madrid in Spain, in Paris in France, and Milan in Italy. So they're all quite exciting, vibrant locations that you'll get to go to and that you'll get to live in if you do come on board with us. So, and there's a very big Mercury site team and a site presence in all those locations. So it's never a case of putting somebody out in Milan and there's no support system and there's no help put out for them. We do have a very good system in place for moving people to different companies or countries, I should say. So, and this just to give you an idea of our spread, this is a map that our graphic designer very kindly did up for myself and Deblina earlier on this week, just with all our various locations that we're currently operating in Mercury, or in throughout Europe, I should say. As I said, you can see they're all big cities, they're all exciting, vibrant cities, and you do get a chance to work with a company that is primarily Irish in its ownership and in its ethos, but we're also multinational, and we've a number of different nationalities working with us. So this is a really, really important slide for me to go through, because our people are at the heart of every single thing that we do. Our people are the core of our business, and they're what ensures our future success. We have a number of people with the company who have been with us for a large part of those 50 years. People have stayed for a very, very long time. We do have a very good culture, a very good community. Everybody gets on with each other and everybody looks out for each other and helps each other out. And I think that's one of the very special things about our company, is that we do have so many people in the company who are long serving, and we have really good relationships with each other and a really good bonds with each other. It makes it easier to go into work when you know you're working with people who you get on with and who you enjoy spending that time with. And I know that sounds cliche, but in this case, it really is true. As I said before, we have 2,600 direct employees plus, and over 6,500 when you include our subcontractors. We're a multinational workforce. We have Irish, English, German, French, Indian, Pakistani. It's a real melting pot, especially over the last couple of years. We have a number of diversity inclusion, well-being and corporate social responsibility programs that we're working on. Our graduate program, which I'll talk about in another minute, is very well established and it's very successful. Currently, across the two cohorts that are working in the business, we have over 70 graduates. So if you're at all nervous about joining us as a new recruit, please don't be, because there are 70 plus people that you can learn from and that we can put you in contact with to help you out and to ease the journey. We also have a comprehensive education assistance program that, for example, when you join Mercury, if you want to go back to college and pursue a master's, or if your ambitions are very, very lofty and you want to do a PhD, we will support you in that. And the reason why I say PhD is I actually had an application come across my desk earlier on this morning for that. So it gives you an idea of how important we view continuing education in the company. So our values, we have 4 values, and our first value is safety. That is our anchor value, and it's at the heart of every single thing that we do. Work safe, home safe isn't just a mantra to us. It's not just pretty words on the wall. It is very much a mindset across all our sites and all our offices, that we have made a promise to all our people that when they come to site, when they come into work, they're going to leave in the exact same condition as they went in. Nobody gets hurt, nobody gets injured. That's our fundamental commitment to our staff. We believe that you have to be brave in order to achieve incredible things, and that's borne out by the fact that we are continuously innovating. We are continuously going into new markets and new jurisdictions. As I said a couple of slides ago, we're going into Tel Aviv in Israel, we're going into Singapore, we're going into Turkey. So they're all new jurisdictions that we've never worked in before. We're also dynamic and agile. We're not afraid of change. And that has been a very good thing in the last 18 months, because we've had to completely pivot the way we do things. We've had to completely change the way we operate, the way we deal with each other, obviously because of the pandemic and the fact that we can't be in the offices the way we usually would. And then lastly, our fourth value is make it happen. And that's our promise to our clients, that no matter what happens, no matter how difficult the project is, we will always deliver it on time, within budget, and in a safe manner. So that's a little bit about Mercury and who we are as a company and what our culture is like. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk a bit about the graduate program, which, let's be honest, is what you guys are here for. So our graduate program is now in its 12th year. We started in 2009 and we had 5 graduates on the program, all of whom were operational. So that meant they were either electrical or mechanical engineers. Our most recent intake in 2021 had 57 graduates, and they were a mixture of both operational, so that's engineers and people out on site, and support functions. So the likes of the HR teams, the finance teams, the estimating team. We've had a number of people come in who are like quantity surveyors and roles like that. So there is plenty of opportunity within Mercury. It's an 18-month program. So you'll start in September of 2021 and you'll be finishing in March of 2023. As I said, if you're a support function, you'll be based either in head office or out on one of our sites. And that's the same for the engineers and the operational teams. We do have structured training weeks every 6 months of the program. So there'll be one in September, one in March, one the following September, and one the following March, which will also tie in with the graduation. And we do a face-to-face graduation ceremony as well. Now, obviously, with the last 18 months with COVID, we haven't been able to do a lot of those things. We've had to pivot to an online training delivery module. We've had to pivot to an online graduation, which again, it's been challenging, but we've demonstrated our agility, and there certainly hasn't been a lack of training. We haven't skimped on anything. We haven't changed anything. We've just had to change our delivery method a bit. So that's been really encouraging. And the feedback that we're getting from the current graduates is always very positive, and they seem to be enjoying it. Now, that's not to say they don't want to get back to face, but as I said, we're very hopeful that from March next year, we'll be able to start delivering in a face-to-face manner again. And certainly by the time some of you come on board with us in September of 2022, we'll be able to do all our training face-to-face. So we'll actually get to meet you guys, which we're tremendously excited. I know Devlina and myself are really looking forward to that, because it's really not the same on Teams. So this is just a graphic of our current program and the current training weeks that we have scheduled for the program. And I included this to give you guys an idea of the different skills that we give to you. So the first week is very much an introductory week. The first 2 days there are a general introduction to Mercury. They're not very training heavy, not very content heavy. Then on the Wednesday, we looked at time management and productivity, which is a huge part of anybody's skill set. We also dealt with leading yourself and how you conduct yourself in the workplace. And then our final session was on teamwork. So we build on that throughout the other weeks of the program. So, you learn about negotiation, leadership, decision-making, project management, how to communicate. And at the cornerstone of the training is a group project that all the graduates have to work on. And we're going to be assigning the graduate group that on the second training week in March. And those graduates will be split into teams and assigned a research project that they have to work on. And then they'll present that to our senior management and myself and Devlina, of course, at the final 2 days of the program before they graduate. And that's a really exciting one for us to do every year, because the projects that we give are areas of interest to us. So we always ask for not just research, but a set of recommendations of how we can implement that. And then we go and we pick the best two and we implement them within the company. For example, we have an internal intranet site, which is called Mercury Share. And that actually grew out of one of the graduate projects from 4 or 5 years ago. So it's not just a matter of asking you to do research for the sake of doing research. We're asking you to work on something that we will be able to implement and that will make the company better. And then obviously you get to work with and advise the project team on the implementation. So that's a really exciting opportunity for the graduates who are just coming into the company. It gives you a real chance to make your mark. And the other thing you may see on the slide there is the intermodule learning. We have access to LinkedIn Learning within the company, and all our employees have access to that. So once you're with us, you can sign up to LinkedIn Learning and do any course that you're interested in. We don't restrict anything, so you have full access to the platform. And there's I think at last count, it was something like over 16,000, nearly 17,000 courses on that platform. So when I say there's something for everybody, I'm not lying. There really is some great stuff up there, and it's a fantastic resource. We also do group mentoring, where the graduate groups are divided up into groups of into smaller groups, and I take you through a mentoring session every week, and that's focused very much on the adjustment between college and the workforce, and different topics on how you can build your career, how you can build your credibility, and how you guys can get ahead at Mercury and really just develop your career. So these are the different areas that we are looking for recruits in. We're looking for engineers, planners, quantity surveying, EHS, the whole gamut. They're all there. And again, I'm not going to read them out to you because you're all well capable of reading. And I think we may be able to share these slides with Catherine so she can send them out to anybody who's interested as well. And she's nodding there, so that's a good sign. And then my final slide is just how do you apply? So if you go to our website, which is mercuryeng.com/careers, there are two links there as well. One is for graduate applications, but if you're not graduating from DKIT this year, you can also apply for internships with the company, and I have that application up there as well. And Deblina has actually popped those links into the chat here as well, so you guys can see those as well. If anybody has any questions.
Brona, Deblina, has Brona dropped for you as well?
Yes, so I
Yes.
think she has some network glitches there.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah, that's kind of
perfect.
nearly
Pretty much
where
is it for the.
Guys, I'm
I think she's
sorry about that, guys. Can you
no
hear
problem.
me?
We
Yeah,
can't
we
hear
can.
you now, Brona. It was just gone for a few minutes. You,
So
you just, yeah.
yeah, this is the perils of working from home, and I'm
Yes,
sure
I
all the students
understand.
are very familiar with it
Yeah,
at the moment. The broadband at home is not
yeah,
capable of doing what it
yeah,
needs to
yeah.
do, so I apologize for that. But no, what I was saying, I think before I went down was, if anybody has any questions for either Deblina or myself, we're more than happy to answer them.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's great. And thank you so much. The graduate application link is there in the chat. I think, Deblina, you've uploaded it there in the
Already
chat
popped out
and in
then there.
advance of the session. So if people want to scroll up to the top of the chat, Deblina has put in the different links there as well for the graduate program and the internships as well. So it's great to have that content there. In terms of closing dates, can you give us a little bit of an indication of what way Mercury run that?
So our interview and screening process is going to start once we are back from the Christmas break. We'll need a little bit of time on focusing on the requirements of the business, and it's always ever changing with the projects and everything that we're winning across borders, different countries and jurisdictions as well. So I'm hoping to looking for more than 57 graduates, definitely for
Yes.
sure. And our selection rounds, like I will go through the interview process and the pre-screening rounds from January end, first week of February.
Okay. Okay. So the
And
screening
our
starts at that stage.
exactly, and our closing date of application is around the last day of June, so which is 30th June, because it gives us then a little bit of time with the new hires to onboard them with ease,
Yeah.
so that they can start on the first week of September.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So rolling application deadlines, but you start your screening in sort of that January timeframe.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And with internships, it will be slightly different because they probably will be looking for summer internships.
Yes. So the internships, it's kind of all the year round. People can join in from, let's say, November from now onwards itself, and they can do from few weeks of internship, doing work experiences with us, 3 to 6 months of internship, and even as a part of their course as well, they can go up to a 12 months internship program as well.
Great. So great flexibility there. That might
There
lead
as
in
well.
nicely to some of the experiences, the formal placements that DKIT have, as well as some extending that into summer internships also.
Exactly.
So a nice mix there.
Yeah.
A lovely number of graduates you're hoping to on board. And
Yeah.
we definitely want to see DKIT as part of that profile of graduate. And with that in mind, both of you are experienced in this, and Brona, your presentation was so insightful in terms of the amount of support and career development and professional development support that any applicant who is successful will get throughout the graduate program. But we do need to get them on the graduate program, and the students who are listening in need to consider that. In terms of applications and what makes people stand out from your point of view, what are you saying are the musts, either from an application or a CV perspective?
For me, it totally depends upon so before, like, let's say a graduate, like for 2022 intake, they are in their final year. I would definitely like to see somebody is at least going for their summer work experience, which is like they're involved into some sort of activities
Okay.
throughout their college years as well. That's kind of relevant. That gives them a slight idea of a practical world as well while working, like while studying at their university as well. That's kind of like a to be a starter as well. But then I've seen students as well who joined in the bachelor's program straightly going on to the master's, and
Mm.
then they decided to join the graduate program as well. So that's kind of another level of like these are like two separate aspects. Like people can definitely join, have a level 7, level 8 going into the
Great.
graduate program.
Mm.
That's fine as well. Somebody is willing to go on to the master's program, wants to start their career as a graduate program, that's also granted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So really good important news there as well. Level 7 will be accepted in the graduate program as
Yes.
well as level 8. Level 8 we understand, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's not always the
Yeah.
case with level 7. So there is flexibility with that.
Yes, we have seen in the last few years of recruitment side as well, where people have started their apprenticeship, worked, willing to progress into an engineer, and then they went on for going into a level 7 course, not necessarily an honors degree. They have tremendous amount of experience on site already, willing to start their career as a graduate or a junior engineer.
Hmm.
They are welcome as well in that course,
Mm.
and
Okay.
that's why we'd have that utmost flexibility in terms of if they're willing to start something on the graduate program. The level is it has to have a bachelor's level.
Yes.
Um, but then we're kind of there as well, like the experience side of the things. Also, students who are this has happened, like we have interns, so they have done their second year, third year
Hmm.
an internship with us, and then they're progressing on to the next year as a graduate with us. That is also like we are very much welcome, and it's a beneficial as well, because they have seen the company, um, they have worked with us, and they're willing to return back to us. That's just a great set of example that
It's
um,
it's a lovely pipeline that
Mm.
if you complete your internship and
exactly,
then you progress on as a graduate in the company,
exactly,
you know them as a student, and they
exactly.
know you, and you know the student from the company perspective as well. Um,
Absolutely.
so in terms of that graduate process, is it mostly interview based? Are there any psychometric tests or anything like that involved that students have to go through?
Um, so this year, like
Hmm.
the 2021 intake, we did introduce an online assessment,
Okay.
which has 4 tests. That's just the basic psychometry test. The first round, once they will click on the apply button, will be like from the next January onward. We will be doing a pre-screening, like we'll do a phone screening round,
Hmm.
followed up with a psychometry test,
Hmm.
and then a first round of interview, or probably a second round. And that's just a very simple recruitment process,
Hmm.
and then they get onboarded.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And just when we're talking about
Mm.
psychometric tests, once the graduates start with us, there is, as part of the first training week, we also give them a psychometric test, which is the PPA profile, which is a
Hmm.
variation on the DISC
Yeah.
profile. And we would use that for as a development tool to go, and I meet with all the graduates individually after the training week. And with 57 graduates, Davina's keeping me very, very busy this
Yeah.
year, which is
Yeah.
great. But I meet with all the graduates and I have a conversation with them. I go through the results of the tests with them, the reports, what it says, and then I have a basic conversation with them, which is more or less, well, you're here in the graduate program. This is what the report indicates you might need to work on development wise. How do you feel about that? How can I help you? Is there anything else that you need? And then I work with the graduates on like an individual development plan to help them get from where they are now to where they want to be. And I think that's one of the great things about our graduate program, that we are putting the time into the graduates, and we're doing our best to help them. And myself and Devleen, I know certainly we always say to the graduates, we're only ever at the other end of either a phone call, a Microsoft Teams message, an email, anything like that. Like,
Yeah.
our job is here to help the graduates, and that's what we both enjoy doing. So, anybody who's joining anybody who's thinking of joining, you know, if you've any questions, even after today, either Devine or myself, we're more than happy to
Yeah.
to answer, and we're more than happy to send emails or phone calls, whatever.
Great.
I will pop in our recruit email address. So if
Yes.
anybody has any further questions, they can send me an email and I will get back to them with an answer. Okay.
Yeah, that's
And
really
then
helpful. And I think your the message of the support and the professional development support from everything from your training program as part of the graduate, your LinkedIn learning, and your support now in terms of encouraging applicants has been really evident throughout this presentation, and I'm sure will definitely inspire students to more than consider but apply for your program. So
we hope so.
good stuff. Well, we're at the end. Like all these sessions, they fly by.
We
That
did.
was a fantastic opportunity for our students to learn more about you. So whether you're listening live, as I say, or on demand, look in the chat function, or even stop the presentation at certain times and get the links down for yourself. And of course, the careers office is here to support you with that application too, here in DKIT. All I have left to say is huge thank you to Mercury, to Deblina, and to Brona, and delighted to have you involved again this year.
Thanks very much,
You're
Catherine.
welcome, Catherine. Thanks for having us.
Take care.
Thanks for
Bye
having
bye.
us. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.